Shaka Sherpa. Although I'm still quite behind the schedule of the things that what we have seen, I have to push in this update because it's rather important, namely problems with Sherpa. Since we are riding, we have quite some problems with the clutch, and it is quite clear the more we come into warm weather or climbing mountains and the engine is getting hotter, such the temperature on the clutch is also increasing, we have more and more problems, and it is really time to do something because the problems get so severe that I have problems with my leg. Shaka Sherpa. Today is maintenance day, a rather important one. Why? Because we have a problem with our clutch, and our clutch is hydraulic. This means if the temperature rises, we clearly have seen that we lose pressure on the clutch. I can still shift the gears, but it's getting more and more difficult. So we need to do something. So let's have a look here. First of all, here we have the reservoir for our clutch hydraulic fluid, which goes over here, and this is .4. Now we go here to the other side, and then we have a look here to the clutch, and then we see this is the cylinder with the clutch and additional springs which pushes this down, and here the high pressure goes through. So this is the first cylinder, and down there somewhere, you cannot see, I will show you in a moment, there we have the other cylinder. So now what did I do, of do we want to do? First of all, the standard stuff is pushing here, filling and pushing with pressure everything through. But we have pressure and we could do. First of all, we have bought of about 2 liter of .4 system in order to refill. But when reading, first of, and then we checked what is happening with this cylinder here. Why? Because this cylinder has in the upper part an O-ring, and if the O-ring starts to leak, which is a typical part, here under the rubber there is fluid, or it's leaking here. And it's completely dry, and we have removed this, and it's completely dry. The second thing what we did is, as we read, there's the possibility that there's an air bubble hanging here, and that this actually has the problem for the clutch. In order to check this, we actually at the front opened the canister, and then we pushed the clutch, and if the air bubble, if the rubber ring folds back and you push the clutch inside while you have problems with the clutch, then actually the whole pressure is not going down, but going up again to the canister, and then you see bubbles in the front, which we did not see, so we think this cylinder here is perfectly fine. So then either there's a problem with the main cylinder under the car, or the whole fluid is so old that there's so much water and rubber remainders inside, and this is also what is probably the case, because if you see, this fluid should be transparent, and it's black kind of stuff. So we want to flush the fluid, and what did we do? If you go down here under the car, then you see actually there the cylinder. We hooked up a hose, and the hose goes down here, simply empty. Why empty? Now, we have a canister here with which we will drain inside, and then all the fluid goes down. But what we will do here, we will not work with overpressure. We will do something which is called gravity bleeding. And what is now happening? It's a siphon, and Mother Nature will help us. So, let me explain at the outside. If you see here, and you check the height, then you see that of about here, on this height, we have the cylinder, and now we have this pipe hanging even much larger. this transparent pipe, which is somewhere there. Now, if you look here, then we have a height difference of about, from the wheel, from this to this for the canister, for the reservoir, meaning if we open now and don't have overpressure, simply the valve, this height difference from there to there will start, like as in an aquarium, start sucking, and we have a natural gravity siphon, and thereby we can refresh the fluid. This is what we will try to do now. So, gravity bleeding. Now, there is an additional problem which has been built in from Mercedes, which was quite surprising to me. Namely, here we have the reservoir, which is up, as you have seen before. This is the cylinder at the clutch pedal, with which you push the fluid down over this line, coming down here to the lower cylinder, which is at the clutch, and operating here the clutch. Now, if we hook now here at this nipple the siphon which is sucking down, then as long as we are severe below, everything is fine. But what you see here at this part, Mercedes-Benz has made a U shape inside. This is an inverted siphon, or let's call a self-starting siphon. Because now you need such an underpressure that you must be much lower than this U in order to activate this, but once it is activated, it really flushes this. However, this additional U makes it very difficult in general to very bleed and get the air out of the hydraulic system of this truck, because the air is always assembling either here up there or here up there. And thus Mercedes-Benz is actually in the military version recommending to put a high pressure on the lower side and push everything up to the canister, but to the reservoir, but then it's overflowing over here. So the main idea is to have a real long siphon, as explained just before, which makes such an underpressure that we even overcome this M. And I will put into the link rather interesting things about siphon, because a lot of people do not know the possibilities of them. The next important step is obviously to explain your mate how to work with acid to fill up and top up the reservoir the whole time while the siphon is bleeding. Then I opened the nipple, and you clearly can see here it started to get very slowly filling up the siphon line, but once it started to drip, the under pressure, the gravity really helps, and it really is increasing, and you see the dark fluid coming out, which in principle should be fully transparent. You also see here already a bubble evolving, and I will show you in the next, that when I opened the nipple, the siphon started to suck, and very quickly actually it was sucking down, and this huge air bubble was coming out. So we did not only have old fluid inside, but also obviously quite some air. And you see here, up here there is already the next bubble evolving, and this is sucking down further due to the under pressure, and you see a lot of individual bubbles. So old fluid and a lot of air was clearly inside our system. And when inspecting the old black hydraulic fluid .4 more closely, here a zoom in part and even a more zoom in part, you see here a small dark particles, and if you look closer, here they are, and here there are a lot of them, small tiny black particles everywhere, rubber pieces. So this was actually a bad sign, because it means that probably one of the O-rings is kind of damaged. The question was obviously, how much is it damaged? So after our repair, the clutch was working perfectly fine again, and the fluid was completely transparent, and we went off about 200 kilometers towards Konya. But we knew that there is MB Trucks Hasmer in Konya, and so we decided, okay, let's go to MB Trucks and ask them whether they can provide us with new cylinders, just in case that the rubber wear on one of the cylinders is so severe that we can exchange later if it is really necessary. We did not have any leaks, oil leaks, so in principle we thought everything was fine. Arriving at MB Trucks in Konya, Bergturel, this guy's over here, let me show, here, this guy, great guy, he immediately started to organize everything, and mechanics who wanted to look to the car, but I said, oh, this is not necessary. And then this guy, this was the spare part expert, and he looked up all the details. We compared the numbers because I have the Edgar and Finn catalogs of my car by myself. We both agreed on the numbers, and at the end it turned out, yes, they could buy and organize both of the cylinders. It only would take a whole month in order to get them because they are only available in Germany. So this was obviously not the solution, and I said, man, guys, we have to do something. And Berg and this guy here, they came up with a great idea. They took the phone and called around, and in the end, they did send us to another company, Usel Konya, a truck spare part company for MAN, Mercedes-Benz, Scania, so really decent company. We went there, a huge storage room, and we told them, and actually Mercedes-Benz and Berg already did call, so they knew they were coming. And finally, very quickly, in of about 15 minutes, and again some chai which we needed to drink and to get the relation good, and so we got these two brand new cylinders from KID, and we actually paid only 100 euros for both of the cylinders, although in the Netherlands or in Europe, one of the cylinders of about 200 to 250 euros. Equipped with the new cylinders and a perfectly working clutch, Audrey and me headed towards the south again, and did found a beautiful restaurant and told the lady what happened. We were really happy. This was one of the best days. We completely repaired Sherpa by ourselves and even got spare parts for the future. So we had a celebration there, and this lady cooked perfect food for us. Now, what happened then? We went down all the way from Konya, which is around here, 280 kilometers over quite some mountains down to the coast, ancient sites over here, and then we had to go back to Karaman and here, and while going back over the mountains again, everything started again, and we had huge clutch problems. I even could not shift the gears anymore once in a while when going up, which is quite severe if you are in very steep mountains with 10-12% of inclination, and you cannot switch down the gear because then the brakes are overheating, or you even cannot come up the mountain. So while doing this, I was really going very slow in speed all the time in order simply not to need to switch the gears in order to simply make it. And I told Ori, let's check what to do if we reach Karaman, and then we will decide, because there were even the highest mountains. Now the situation was quite clear. It was getting severe and severe. So in Karaman we decided it is time to go back to our friends Mercedes-Benz and Hasmer and the team from Berg. So this was 4 days after we did the bleeding by ourselves, 2 days after we left Mercedes for the first time. And yeah, so on this day while riding, we had connections. We know Turkish people, so we asked them to call Berg, explaining in Turkish the situation, that we will come next day and we will see, and whenever they have time to organize this, because we want to have the new cylinders inside. And then we see what is going on further. From our Turkish friend, we got the information that Berg did receive the message and is organizing things. So we were going the whole evening through till we were back at Konya, at the gas station on the other side of this Mercedes-Benz truck garage, where we actually get at the truck stop perfectly great food, as you see over here, in order to be as early as possible at Mercedes in the next morning. Where to sleep then? Now, next to the gas station, there was a construction site, and we were riding simply towards the construction site. There was a guard over there, and the security, you cannot easily simply drive in. I asked them, and he told us, simply ride through, and if you stay the night there, fine with me, and next morning make sure that before all the construction guys are coming that you are leaving. Yeah, perfectly fine. We were staying there till the next morning, where in the morning from here, the guard was coming suddenly to our truck and bringing us 2 cups of coffee, while we already have set our own 1 liter of coffee in the morning. But I thought this is incredible. We are simply on a construction site, kind of half illegal, tolerated. The guard said we can stay there, and he is bringing us the coffee in the morning. But this was not all. Unfortunately, I don't have the images. What happened next is there was a construction worker driving through, and he saw me standing in the door of Sherpa drinking the coffee, and he was passing by, and then he was stopping, putting the backwards gears inside, and was coming back. He was opening the car, jumping out of the car, going to the side, opening the window there, getting a bag out, and he had his bag with his breakfast, which he needed for his construction, and he was coming to me and told me, "Look, eat this, you will need this." And I told him, "No, man, fine with me." So they everywhere care about you. This was quite impressive. Okay, we had our own food. I really could not accept this, because this was the breakfast of this construction worker. So the next morning, obviously, we were back pretty much on time before opening at Mercedes truck again, and Berg Turell, what a great guy, unbelievable. We were there, and he had organized almost everything. Obviously, they had the complete scheduling for all the trucks and buses there, and we simply told, "Look, whenever you have the time, we can camp here, simply let us know." And he told us that somewhere in the morning they will take in the car even. Okay, perfectly fine. So we could go upstairs and could work with our computers and laptops, where we find this beautiful glass vitrine here with all the prices this Mercedes truck garage got. And this really made us very, very confident. We had lunch together with them, and at 11 o'clock they were coming and asking about the problems. I explained, and they took in Sherpa. Here you can see Sherpa standing in the back between all this very beautiful garage with, look, high-tech dedicated lines for the different fluids, very clean. Every time a bus was leaving, they cleaned up everything. What a beautiful garage, unbelievable, really unbelievable. So the main mechanic was coming to me, and I was driving Sherpa inside. We had some conversation, and I told him, Google Translate obviously, the things which we wanted to have, exchanging the main cylinders and the other cylinder, and the old one I wanted to have because we can probably refurbish. And then I told him about the pressure and the underbleeding and so. Yeah, and then we went up again, and they did the work, and unbelievable. At around 3 o'clock, I think 3 o'clock or so, everything was fixed, and the clutch was working perfectly, and I cannot even tell you the price which we paid, because this was, I would guess that we would have paid something like 3 or 4 times the amount in the Netherlands. So with this, Sherpa was running perfectly fine. And then it was again time to say goodbye to this great team of Berg and his mechanics and engineers. Really, he is now in my contact list, and thank you very much, Berg. Thank you very much, Mercedes-Benz truck. I can warmly recommend everybody who is running a truck and going there. You should go to this garage. This is really incredible. Thank you one more time. And here are the important links about gravity bleeding, siphons, self-starting siphons. I also put the link inside from Mercedes-Benz trucks in Konya, as well as Uzel Automotive, where you get the truck parts in Konya. I will put these links down into the comments so you can read them there directly. So this was an unusual video about technology and the problems we had, but also this belongs to a journey, right? I mean, you have to fix this. Otherwise, if you're not capable of doing, you will not make such a journey. So if this was interesting to you, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel not to miss anything, make a bell to this, and write down in the comments if you are interested in something, need more information. I will react to this, I will answer your questions, and moreover, if there are really things coming up, I will even make a new video about a certain topic. Shaka Serapa.